you mentioned viral content, and I saw that as one of the services you offer on your site. This is a question that everybody's trying to crack because, to be successful on social media, at least ones that we hear about on in major press outlets, it's all about something like stuff like Old Spice, Old Spice Man campaign. What are some key elements for crafting viral content from your
Okay.
experience?
So first of all, up to this point, there's no straightforward equation, or else, some company would just be pumping out all day long. There's no
There are
challenge.
companies that do that, I feel like.
There are companies that have high success rate, but one, they understand how to make viral videos, but two, they also understand how to seed it very well. So a lot
I
of times,
see.
these are companies that have a strong network set up that promote it everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And they know how to get onto the front page of YouTube really fast. Just really techniques that can do that.
I
In
see.
terms of video itself, again, it really, really depends on the audience you're trying to reach. What you're trying to sell and what the audience you're trying to reach. Because just look at movies. The horror films, chick flicks. They're totally different and they appeal to different markets. So you can't just say what is it? How do you make? What are the elements of a successful movie? Right? It's based on your audience. One thing, very surprisingly, that makes a video a lot more viral than others is the factor of randomness. Like if you go on to the top video bloggers on YouTube, you try to find things in common. It's very rarely like how educational it is, amazing content, how pretty the people look. Most of the time, it's just completely random. The cut streams bounces back and forth, and because nowadays, I guess people have such short attention span. It's just I guess that being random and bouncing around gets people more. Even Old Spice, their commercial. It's very random, right? Suddenly, like his first in this room, and suddenly he's jumping to swan dive into hot water, and then it's just very random. It's like, oh, that's weird, and so utilizing random is an unexpected thing that makes something more viral. That seems to be universal almost. And then besides that, obviously, it usually obviously should be funny instead of some people try to hit others with really deep and strong, meaningful messages.
Mhm.
Those don't work very well. It usually has to be short, lighthearted, and funny, right? And also, there's a trend that people like things that are more homemade. Like if everything's made professionally, to every detail is perfect, then it somehow loses a little bit more credibility. For instance, let's see, what's good example? T-Mobile does it kind of professional, but I don't know if you remember, but a while ago, T-Mobile had this viral video where it's like a lot of people dancing on a plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of know eventually that it's T-Mobile that's doing it, and it's kind of cool. But it'll become even more viral. People will think, well, it's even more awesome if they didn't think there was a corporation behind it, and it's just some guys gathering up and doing it on their own.
Yeah.
So people do like this authenticity, being homemade instead of feeling that it's a plot to get people to buy things.
I see.
There's a lot of different elements, and then it goes down to really what are the target audience you're trying to reach.
I see. Random, funny, homemade, target audience. You guys,
one book that I recommend is the book Made to Stick. Made to Stick. Yes. So he has a lot of principles about what makes something stick, what makes people remember it, and want to tell it to other people. So you can take a lot of those principles into the content that you're producing, and if you're applied well, then obviously that takes you a long way.
I see. My question that I really wanted to ask you is more than 23,000 followers on Twitter, and I've taken a look at your stats in CrowdBooster. Like they're pretty engaged. People retweet you, they reply to you. How what did you do to get there? What was it like in the early days?
So what you do correctly is you differentiated the people, followers versus people who engage with you.
Hmm.
But I will first of all I started relatively early compared to a lot of people. Like I started using Twitter 2006, maybe 2007, and so I do have a lot more time to build something than others. And then two, which is really important, is I'm very generous in following people, which I I have 23 followers, 1,000 followers. I probably have like 22,000 people I follow. And so there are two things. One is when people see that, they follow you more because people really care about their ratios and they don't want to follow someone that doesn't follow back. Mm-hmm. And so obviously I don't keep track of everyone I follow. I put them into my list. But having that makes people, I guess, lowers the barrier of someone following you. And then also I am very active in finding people who seem to be interested in what I have to say, and I follow them, so they follow that. So that takes you a long way. And besides that, it's really just having a company that does a lot of social media work. Having a blog and having your Twitter handle that's just in your blog. Being at conferences, your Twitter handle is just on your business card. That all adds up again throughout a 3-4 year period of time. So that's followers. Again, I feel like a decent amount of these followers would also just be spammers or just people who followed once and they just they just stopped using Twitter. So those are a lot. So in terms, I think what really matters again same principles. How many people know about what you do and care about you, and this is what I call the tribe. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that there's a lot of people who have me registered in their mind. So what happens is whenever someone retweets what I have to say, or when they mention me, they have me in Follow Friday, or they're talking about my company, I immediately add them into a list I call Cool Peeps list. And I look at this Cool Peeps list very often, and I retweet these people. I talk to them, I respond to them, and basically the whole point is once they talk about you, somewhere in their mind they have your name, but if you just let it go, it'll go away. So what you want to do is you want to constantly have repeat exposure. You want to be there when they need you, when they ask questions and all that stuff. And so you build a list of Cool Peeps. And then what I discovered is whenever I tweet my own stuff, like, today is a gloomy day, or I lost something, it's always these people on the Cool Peeps list that respond to me and say, I hope you feel better, or let me introduce to your friend who can help you. So it's really engaging these people who have mentioned you and who have had some kind of conversation with you before. Most people, they say, a lot of firms and people, when someone mentions them or retweets them, they're like, ha, I feel good, and they forget about it. People who do a little better respond, say, hey, thanks for retweeting, and that's all. They forget about it. The whole point is make sure you always grab onto these people who have talked about you and always engage them. And that's the key of building your tribe and creating these relationships.
I see. I believe I'm on that Cool Peeps list. That makes me feel pretty good.
I believe you are.
How big is that list? Like, out of the 23,000 followers, how many people can you actively sort of engage and maintain just as a single person?
Well, see, the thing is that you don't have to necessarily engage everyone very often. Uh-huh. Like, the whole point is you already have a huge advantage because they mentioned it before. Yeah. So even if it's 6 months later, 8 months later, you send them one tweet, they're like, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, this guy actually tweeted me. And that's when they probably add you. They want to make sure they're still following what you're doing, so they probably add you in one of their lists or something that they pay attention to. So it's not like you talk to them on a daily basis, weekly basis. No. It's just when you're doing work and you're taking like a 2-minute break, you just look at your stream. You don't have to go through all of it. Just look at the top 10 and just respond to wherever you feel like, and that actually takes you a very long way.
I see. And what do you use to manage these lists? What are some of the tools that are essential to maintaining such a big presence?
At this point, I tried a lot of tools. At this point, I think Hootsuite fulfills my need the best, particularly because of how easy it is to add someone into a list based on your stream. So you just click on the person, a pop-up comes up, and you say add to list. It's much easier than dig into the profile and the next page and next finally adding into a list. So Hootsuite is my preferred choice at this moment. These Twitter apps, they change like from a week to week basis. Yeah. They're always trying to catch up to each other. So I don't know what's going to be my preferred choice a month from now.
I see. Okay. So let me bring this interview to to a close. I know that I'm glad to know that your company Reward Me is about to launch. So could you tell us a little more about Reward Me, whatever is appropriate before you launch publicly?
Okay. So Reward Me is a mobile technology that helps brick and mortar stores get more repeat customers referrals. Our concept is, we feel that deal type models like Groupon, the flaw for these type of models is that they're always focused on the one-time bargain hunters. And often these are the people who wouldn't want to come back unless you give them another 50% off. So we feel like it's much more meaningful targeting those who already like your restaurant, and those are people who would love to come back more often and refer their friends if we create incentive. So what we do is we are like a loyalty program on the phone. We give these restaurants a QR code hardware, and the customers would go in with their phones, and whenever they eat, they would swipe their phones or scan their phones through the QR code and get points for it. And so they can redeem these points for appetizer, free drinks from these stores.
Cool, cool. So you're sending out QR codes to every single restaurant and using that as a way for customers to engage, unlock rewards potentially. Cool.
Yeah, so from a consumer standpoint, you probably there's some coffee shop or restaurant that you go very often, and you always bring your meetings there, and you tell your friends. Yeah, and it'd be nice that you were recognized for that loyalty, right?
Yeah,
so,
totally. Like most places don't even have stamp cards, one of those stamp cards that you collect to get free stuff. I would love to have one for each restaurant I go to.
Yeah, and you don't want to bring like 20 stamp cards in your wallet either, right? But you always have your phone. So if your phone acts as your stamp card, then it works out perfectly. Another really cool thing about it is there's a referral feature. So most of our customers, they do a thing where if you can refer someone to their store and they scan the QR code, you get double the points. So as an entrepreneur, I look forward to like just going to a conference and refer a bunch of people to these stores and just go in and collect free stuff all the time. I call it "will refer for food." So there's a technology that helps people do that and helps these stores actively engage their customers more.
I see. That sounds really promising. I can't wait to see it and use it. And we're going to dinner at one of those restaurants. So,
we actually just launched today.
Congratulations!
It's in the App Store today.
Okay, so how do people get a hold of this app?
Oh, just go to the Android market or iPhone App Store, search for Reward Me, and then download it, and then it'll tell you what are the local restaurants that are participating.
I see. So cool. So before we end, you know a lot. You know so much. I couldn't get, not even like a small percentage of like your knowledge in the last 40 minutes. So how can people learn more about your thoughts? How can people follow you, and what should they check out?
Okay, so every once in a while I blog about various things from my experience. Just doing the social media stuff, doing the marketing stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm a little slow on that because my main focus is pushing my company. Whereas my blog is just self-expression. Yeah. Sometimes I get so if you're in the Bay Area, a lot of times I have this 3-hour social media crash course that's attached to us at CNET.org, which is the Chinese Information Network Association. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this is something where I just spent 3 hours going through covering the big parts of everything I know, and the goal is to, once you walk out, it's not like, oh, social media is amazing, I should do something, I should participate, but know exactly, all right, I need to use this platform, I need to do this on this platform, and walk out. So if you're in the Bay Area, this resources that's available, and if not, then check out my blog. Sometimes I filmed my presentations. Okay. And so a lot of times you can find it on my blog too if I make those.
Cool. So blog yukaichao.com.
yukaichao.com.
Follow him on Twitter at yukaichao.
And another easy way is really just to contact me. I like to share my knowledge, I like to help out. So if you have some questions or you want to just understand something more, just shoot me an email. Right now it's yukai@rewardmeapp.com.
Okay.
And I usually respond to everyone who talks to me.
Okay, cool. Yeah. yukai@rewardmeapp.com. yukai@rewardmeapp.com. Cool. Thanks, Yukai.
No problem.
Thank you for being my first interviewee. And thanks everyone for watching. Take care.
Have a good night.